Finally, the most awaited PMBOK guide, the 8th edition, is out. It was released on 13th November 2025. And if you're preparing for PMP exam, the first question you'll have is whether this new PMBOK edition will impact your PMP exam preparation. Should you stop using the PMBOK 7 or the Agile Practice guide? Are there any new topics you now need to learn? Don't worry, I've covered everything you need to know in this video. Let's get started. My name is Ahmed. I'm a seasoned PMP coach and the founder of GANTT Scholar and the creator of one of the highest rated PMP prep course on Udemy. Let me start by answering the most important question. PMBOK 8 will not have a major impact on your PMP exam preparation. In fact, it will help you by bringing all the reference materials into one streamlined guide. So you no longer need to refer to multiple books. If you're wondering how to get PMBOK 8, here's the simplest way. If you already have a PMI membership, you can download the PMBOK 8th edition PDF directly from the link in the description. If you don't have PMI membership, consider taking it. It costs you some money, but you receive a huge discount on the PMP exam fee, and that discount is actually higher than the membership cost. So it's absolutely worth it. You save money and get free access to the PMBOK 8th edition. Now let's talk about the structure of the PMBOK 8th edition. The biggest limitation of PMBOK 7 was that it's focused only on project management principles and did not include the 49 processes from the PMBOK 6th edition. Because of this, aspirants had to refer to multiple books for proper exam preparation. PMBOK 7 for principles, PMBOK 6 or process groups practice guide for the 49 processes, tools, and techniques, and the Agile practice guide for Agile concepts. So far, we needed all the three separate books to prepare effectively for the exam. PMBOK 8 edition solves this problem. PMBOK 8 is essentially an integration of PMBOK 7, which provides all the principles, PMBOK 6 or the process group practice guide, which provides the process based project management approach, and the Agile Practice Guide, which covers Agile practices. PMI also condensed the 49 processes into 40 processes in PMBOK 8, making exam preparation more streamlined and focused. And how do we know this? On page 257 of PMBOK 8, you can see that the primary reference materials used to create the book are PMBOK 7 from 2021 and the Process Groups Practice Guide from 2022, which is essentially a reprint of PMBOK 6 with a different cover and name. There is also diagrams showing PMBOK 8 is derived from both PMBOK 7 and Process School Practice Guide. In addition, the bibliography includes the Agile Practice Guide, confirming that Agile concepts have been integrated into PMBOK 8. This means that going forward, you no longer need to study multiple guides. PMBOK 8 alone is enough for exam preparation. That's a great news because it simplifies and streamlines your entire exam preparation process. Now, the next question you may have is whether PMBOK 8 introduced new topics. Even though PMBOK 8th edition is an integration of previous editions, PMI has added a few updated topics, new concepts, and refinements to processes, tools, and methods. I will walk you through all these changes and the important updates inside PMBOK 8 in the upcoming parts of this video. Now, let's understand how this book is organized by looking at the table of content. I won't be able to show you the actual content because that would violate copyright law. However, the table of contents of PMBOK 8th edition is available as a free resource and you can download it directly from PMI. Alright, first you will see the introduction section which covers the basics of project management. It also includes topics such as program management, portfolio management, and the difference between operations, programs, and projects. You will find details about project governance as well. Then we have a section on the system for value delivery, where you will see topics like enterprise environmental factors, organizational process assets, and different organizational structures such as matrix, functional, and projectized organizations. You will also notice a new topic on product management consideration. This is a valuable addition because it connects project management concepts with product management, helping us understand projects more holistically. Another new topic here explains how projects interact with other areas within the organization. These two topics are newly added in PMBOK 8, and you will also see the usual content related to project management rules. So essentially, the first two chapters covers the fundamental concepts of project management, most of which you would already find in PMBOK 6 and PMBOK 7, except for the two new topics, product management considerations and functions associated with projects. Now, when we move to chapter 3, which is about project management principle, this is where you will see something special. Although project management principles were first introduced in PMBOK 7, where there were 12 principles, PMBOK 8 has condensed these 12 principles into just 6 core principles. I have a table that shows how the original 12 principles have been mapped and merged into these 6. These principles focus on having a holistic view of the project, understanding how different performance areas interact with each other. For example, how schedule influences risk, how risk influences stakeholder engagement, and so on. There is a principle on value creation, emphasizing both tangible and intangible benefits delivered to the organization and its stakeholders. Another principle highlights the importance of quality. Then we have principles related to being an accountable leader and building a right team culture, which fall under people and leadership. We also have a principle on integrating sustainability into all project areas, which includes being responsible with resources, minimizing negative environmental impact, and considering the social implication of our project decisions. This sustainability principle reflects the direction of modern project management. Next, we have project life cycles. This is a strong and well explained section in PMBOK 8. To understand the rest of the content clearly, we must have a solid understanding of different development approaches. And this time, PMI has explained predictive, adaptive, and hybrid approaches in much greater detail, along with illustrations and examples. This is one of my favorite parts of the book. With that, we complete the fundamental part of PMBOK 8. The key takeaway here is that the project management principles come directly from PMBOK 7. Now, when we move on to the second part, we have the project management body of knowledge, which refers to the project management processes. These are the same processes we have in Process Group Practice Guide or PMBOK 6. Both those books contain 49 project management processes. PMBOK 8 follows the same structure, but with two major differences. First, instead of 49 processes, PMBOK 8 includes only 40 because PMI has consolidated and simplified them. Second, the grouping is different. In previous editions, the processes were grouped into 10 knowledge areas such as scope, scheduling, risk, and stakeholder management. In PMBOK 8, we don't have knowledge areas. Instead, we have 7 performance domains. So compared to PMBOK 6, where we had 49 processes grouped under 10 knowledge areas, PMBOK 8 now has 40 processes grouped under 7 performance domains. This makes things more streamlined and easier to follow. Finally, here is a process map. From this, you can see exactly how the 40 processes are distributed across the 7 performance domains. A few knowledge areas are no longer presented in PMBOK 8. For example, the procurement knowledge area has been removed, quality management is gone, integration have been renamed as governance, and the communication stakeholder engagement knowledge areas have been combined into one, which you can clearly see in the new structure. The integration knowledge area has now been renamed as governance performance domain. Let's start with the governance performance domain. The initiation process group remains the same, including project charter development, business case, and benefit management planning. So nothing major has changed here. In the planning process group, the process group called integrate and align project plans is essentially the same as the old develop project management plan from the previous editions. We also see a new planning process under the governance called Plan Sourcing Strategy, which is a good addition. Plan Sourcing Strategy is basically the old plan procurement management process, which previously belonged to the procurement knowledge area. Since procurement knowledge area has been removed, PMS shifted sourcing strategy into governance. This is actually a logical improvement because the procurement lifecycle and the project lifecycle usually begins at the same time and progress together in most projects. So planning procurement activities along with project planning is a practical, streamlined approach. In this process, you will still find familiar topics such as bidding conferences, developing statement of work, preparing source selection criteria, and producing procurement management plans. Then in the execution process group under governance, you will notice a process called manage quality assurance, which earlier belonged to the quality management knowledge area. Quality management as a standalone knowledge area has been removed and its processes have been distributed among the 7 performance domains. Apart from these changes, monitoring and control processes and the closing processes remains mostly the same, with one slight difference. Perform integrated change control has been renamed to assess and implement changes. If you now look at the scope performance domain, it closely resembles the old scope management knowledge area with one renaming. Create WBS is now called develop scope structure. Moving to the schedule performance domain, PMI simplified and consolidated several processes. Instead of having three different processes, define activities, estimate activity duration, and develop schedule, they are now merged into one process called develop schedule, which combines all the three process steps. This makes scheduling more streamlined. Next is the finance performance domain, which replaces the old cost management knowledge area. Instead of planned cost management, we now have planned financial management. The major difference here is that topics like net present value, internal rate of return, and return on investment, which were earlier associated with the business domain, are now included under finance since they are related directly to finance decision making. In addition to these, the finance domain still includes own value management, budgeting, contingency reserves, and management reserves, and other traditional cost topics. So, finance is mostly intact, but now includes extra financial analysis concepts from business side. Moving to the stakeholder performance domain, this is essentially a consolidation of the stakeholder management and communication management knowledge areas. Because stakeholder engagement and communication are deeply interdependent, PAM has merged them into one domain. In planning, you will see both planned stakeholder engagement and planned communication management. In execution, we have processes for managing stakeholder engagement and managing communications. The same pattern continues in monitoring and controlling. Then, in the resource performance domain, most processes remain the same, but there is one smart improvement. This domain now includes both internal resource management and procurement related external resource management. This is a practical enhancement because project resources are always a mix of internal and external resources. So, learning how to manage both in one place gives a clearer understanding. Some processes from old procurement management knowledge area have been moved here for that reason. Finally, in risk performance domain, the only major change is that perform qualitative risk analysis and perform quantitative risk analysis have been merged into a single consolidated process called perform risk analysis. Otherwise, risk management remains intact. So, the takeaway here is that processes have been simplified, integrated, and reorganized for better learning and a clearer context. Integration has been renamed to governance, procurement management have been removed and its topics redistributed into governance and resource performance domains. Stakeholder and communication are merged into one domain. Quality management is removed as a separate knowledge area, but its topics are incorporated into governance and other performance domains. Cost management is now finance, with additional financial analysis topics like net present value and IRR added. These changes make the process map more streamlined and easier to understand. I hope this gives you a clear idea. Now let's move on and explore the additional updates introduced in PMBOK 8 beyond the changes in the process map. Going back to the table of content, you will notice a section on tailoring, which is not new because we already had this topic in PMBOK 7. Tailoring simply means optimizing the project management processes to suit the nature, context, and unique attributes of a project. Then we have input, output, tools, and techniques section. All the tools, techniques, and inputs and outputs that are existed in the original 49 processes are covered in detail here. For example, techniques like parametric and analogous estimation, various project documents, risk identification methods, and assessment techniques are included in this section. We can skip the contribution reviewers section since it has no relevance for exam preparation. After that, we have the content related to the roles and responsibilities of the project management office, which is also something already available in previous PMBOK editions. What you see next, however, is something new, artificial intelligence. But do not panic, although this is a new addition to the PMBOK guide and we haven't seen it in earlier versions. You don't need any technical knowledge or expertise in AI systems. You don't need to learn how to build AI models or understand algorithms. You simply need to know the use cases of AI in project management, how AI can help improve risk identification, resource allocation, schedule optimization, trend analysis, and idea generation. This section is hardly 8 pages long, completely non technical, and very easy to understand. I cannot show you these pages due to copyright restrictions, but the key point is that you only need to know how AI supports project management and how to use it responsibly with proper ethical considerations. PIM also published a separate standard on AI for project management. If you have PMI membership, you can download that book as well to learn more about how AI fits into modern project environments. Then you will see various topics related to procurement management. We already know that PMBOK 8 contains a process under governance called plan sourcing strategy, and there are a few procurement related activities inside resource performance domain. This appendix give deeper insight into procurement concepts, contract types, and agile friendly contracting approaches, which are useful when planning procurement for adaptive projects. After that, you will see Appendix X4 and a section summarizing the changes made in the PMBOK 8th edition and the sources used in creating it. Most of these points were already covered. So that's basically everything inside the table of contents. If you ask me what's truly new in PMBOK 8, my honest answer is this. Other than the 8 pages about the use cases of artificial intelligence, there's nothing fundamentally new. But many things have been optimized, the process map has been redefined, the number of processes have been reduced from 49 to 40, and instead of 10 knowledge areas, these processes are now grouped into 7 performance domains. Some knowledge areas like procurement management, communication management, stakeholder integration, and quality are being reorganized or merged. The 12 project management principles from PMBOK 7 has been condensed into 6 core principles. So even though there is not a lot of new content, PMBOK 8 simplifies and streamlines the structure significantly. In my view, PMBOK 8 helps you avoid reading multiple books for exam preparation. You can learn everything in one place. Before we conclude, I want to highlight one important thing. The writing style of PMBOK 8 is much better than previous editions. You will find a lot of illustrations, infographics, and visual explanations that make concepts easier to understand. And if a concept applies to both agile and predictive approaches, PMBOK 8 shows you how it works in each environment side by side. So you can learn both in one place. This makes your learning experience smoother, faster, and much clearer. With all these enhancements, we can confidently say that PMI has done a great job with the PMBOK 8th edition. PMBOK 8th edition is an excellent book for your exam preparation, and you don't have to wait for any announcement from PMI to start using it because it essentially replaces its predecessors, including the Process Group Practice Guide and the PMBOK 7th edition. You can begin using it right away. I've already explained how to download the book. If you have an active PMI membership, you can log into the pmi.org portal and download PMBOK 8 for free. It will be available as a paperback on major e-commerce platforms if you prefer a physical copy. Now let me wrap up this discussion by answering a very important question. Will there be any change in the PMP exam syllabus because of the release of PMBOK 8? Remember this. PMP exam questions are based on the PMP exam content outline, not on any specific book, including the PMBOK guide. So, unless PMI updates the PMP exam content outline, there is no change to the syllabus. You can safely start with using PMBOK 8 because it contains everything listed in the current exam content outline. And you know what? PMI released the updated PMP exam content outline on 14th November 2025, just one day after the publication of PMBOK 8. But don't worry because PMI has clearly stated on its website that the new exam content outline will only become effective from July 2026. Until then, even with the release of PMBOK 8, the PMP exam will continue to follow the current PMP exam content outline. So if you're preparing for the PMP exam anytime before July 2026, you do not need to worry about the updated outline that is scheduled to take effect in July 2026. And even if you plan to take the exam after July 2026, you still don't need to be concerned because almost all the concepts you learn now will continue to be valid. You will only need to learn a few additional topics related to the use case of AI in project management, sustainability, and other emerging practices to take the exam based on the updated outline. If you want to download the updated exam content outline, I've shared the link in the description. I have also created a separate video explaining the new exam content outline expected to roll out in July 2026. Please check the description for that video link as well. Even if PMI updates the exam content outline during your preparation, you will still be absolutely fine because 95% of what you have studied now will still be relevant. Only a small portion will require additional readings on AI use cases and sustainability. Everything else will remain the same, so keep moving forward with confidence. If you're looking for a course that aligns with the latest updates to the exam, you can consider purchasing my PMP course on Udemy. I will be updating my Udemy course to align with the PMBOK 8th, and if you're interested, you can find the link to the course in the video description. With that, we are done with this video. I hope you found it useful, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and share your thoughts in the comments. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comment section. Consider subscribing to my channel, and I will see you again in the next video. Take care.